Coach, first outing of first scrimmage spring practice. How did you think it went?
Yeah, that was good. I think obviously first scrimmage seems to get sloppy at times, and I thought that was true on both sides of the ball. Defensively, I thought they started really hot with the ones. Forced 2 turnovers the first 2 times they're on the field, which is also sloppy, organizational stuff by us on offense. And so, but thought that they started with great energy on the defensive side of the ball, got 2 stops. Our 2s came out. I thought Mestamaker had a nice day overall. He was able to move the ball down the field for the majority of the day. Then you get into the 3s, you got a bunch of guys that are new around here. And, I thought Jimerson did a nice job operating for the first time. I think putting it all together for the first time is always a little nerve-wracking for a young quarterback that should be going to senior prom next week. So overall, I'm pleased with everything we got on tape. Got a little bit over 100 plays today. We'll be able to go back and evaluate how some of these guys tackled in space, how we blocked in space. Up front, I thought Gabe Blair did a nice job organizing and running and making calls with some new scheme stuff that we're doing with Coach Krill. And so all in all, I thought it was a good starting point, although a lot of stuff to clean up. I think the penalties, first and foremost, first time we've had full referee crew here. We had an American crew, and so being able to clean up some of those things and not hurt ourselves in some key situations, but came out healthy and got a lot of work in today.
Yeah, kind of in the debut for your new look defense. What do you see from those guys?
I thought they were flying around early. A little light at the corner position right now, just a couple guys banged up, and so we got some guys in there that haven't played much football around here with the 2s and the 3s at the corner position. And so, but other than that, I thought that they started off strong, especially with the 1s. I thought the 2s, it got a little sloppy. We were able to go on some long drives with the 2s there early on in the scrimmage. And 1s kind of, I thought Reese Poffenberger, was maybe a little bit of nerves early, first 2 series, but he went on a 2-minute drive and was able to go down and we kicked the field goal, I think, at the end of it to theoretically win the game. So Reese kind of got back in the mix of things after that, and I thought he finished strong at the end of it. But all in all, Coach Cassidy's done a great job, I think, throwing so much at him the first time to put it all together with no coaches out there. I think it was a pretty good starting point for him.
Quentin Hammond's recovered one of the fumbles, and I guess the second drive of the game off the botched handoff. How do you feel like he's kind of improved after being thrown in the fire?
Yeah, I just can't say enough about Quentin, and not only as a ball player. I think all the athletic attributes are there. He's a bigger guy. He's fast. He's strong. But the thing that stands out about Q is just, I think, how smart he is. And guy that played safety for us last year, trying to double train him a little bit at nickel right now, get him a little bit closer to the ball. He's 205 pounds and a strong guy, headsy guy. And so I think he's always a guy that just have a knack for being around the ball just because how smart he is. He studies the game. He's in the right spot at the right time. He's a great teammate, and so a guy that, came in here and played really well for us last year, earned a scholarship, and I think he'll continue to blossom on that side of the ball. He didn't even play much defense in high school. He was a receiver that we converted, and I think, the sky's the limit with him. I think he'll continue just to progress and get better.
What did you see out of some of those younger wideouts today, like compared to Wyatt Young, Miles Coleman?
Yeah, I think it was good. Everybody knows what Miles can do. I think he's got enough of film evidence out there that he's a good ball player. I think the big one for me, just without watching, is Barron Tipton today. I thought Barron had a really nice day. Probably 6 or 7 catches, some tough one over the middle. He's such a big target for us, has a huge catch radius. And so I think he's got to continue to progress. He's one that's really worked on his body. He didn't gain a ton of weight, and he's taken a bunch of pride in it these last 2 or 3 months. He's up to 205, 210 pounds right now. And so can really jump well, and so I think he can be a huge weapon for us, especially in the red zone. He had a nice day today. I know Kyle made a couple catches today. Kyle's someone that will continue to progress. Cam Dorner had a couple catches early. And Simeon's a guy that is just a natural ball player. I think once you put him in live situations, ball seems to find him. And then also I think he's really good on the perimeter blocking for us. And so it was nice to see that. And then we had a stable of backs today, which is good to see, just a number of those guys. Mackenzie McKill didn't go today. We held him just precautionary. He could have gone if it was a game today. Just held him, let him heal up a little bit. But we know what Mackenzie can do. But to get Demaje Harris back in it, to get Jaden Becks out there getting some reps. Ashton Gray's a guy that's practiced really good. Put on a ton of weight. He'll be a bigger 210-pound back for us. Thought he had a nice day. So yeah, it's good for see some of these young puppies grow up and just become a year better, right?
Seems like the defensive line's gotten a little bigger over these past few years, and now this year, especially with the transfers from St. Houston. How do you feel like that depth and the changing system kind of help you guys?
Yeah, I think the end position, our depth's phenomenal right now. I think, we got 5 or 6 ends that have been playing really well, and I think that'll be a competition, position for us throughout the spring, into the summer, into the fall camp. But like where we're at, got a bunch of length out there, size, and rotation. I think just to really figure out who our backup interior pieces, I think we have, 2 or 3 really good pieces that have played a ton of football in our nose guard and defensive tackle position. Just figuring out who those next guys are, right? And we got a bunch of young guys. Jaden Langley's a guy. Jaden Williams is a guy that played quite a bit for us last year. So really bringing those guys along. That way we got 4 or 5 guys we feel comfortable with in the middle. But yeah, I think holistically, you just look out there, the number-wise, we got a bunch of dang defensive linemen that are competing their tails off for spots right now.
You mentioned quarterbacks a little bit. What was your evaluation of this year guys not play?
Yeah, hard before I really go back and watch it. I thought Reese started off slow, probably pressed a little bit. I thought Drew started off fast and was able to move the ball down the field. We were able to pop a long run on Drew's first series, so that helps out, right? And then, once Drew got us going on a 2-minute drive and was able to move us down the field, I thought he did a nice job with his feet, able to extend some plays for us. I think Drew's just a year better. Like he's played in this system, so I think Reese, you'll see, in scrimmage 2 and so on. I think you'll see a lot of growth in Reese as he gets more and more comfortable with everything we're doing.
Demasha had that 50-yard touchdown run. How good was that just to see after, the season was done?
Yeah, just good, happy for him, right? I think anytime you're injured and have surgery and you watch a guy really, put in all this work behind the scenes. I see him every day in the training room doing his rehab. You see him in there building that thing back. So just to get some confidence back, I think is huge for him, right? He's a big back that kind of was breaking out for us when he got injured last year. And so I think, you sit on the sideline for 8 months. It's fun to see that big smile when he's running out the field and like, hey, finally I'm back and playing and having some success early. So yeah, I really like where our back room is right now, just holistically. Obviously, there's not enough reps to go around to have 5 or 6 guys in a rotation. So I think, throughout these next, 11 practices, 9 practices, shoot, that was 6, 9 practices into the summer and into fall camp, like we really got to figure out who our guys are going to be at running back and start cutting those reps down a little bit.
You guys run, faster tempo early on. Do you feel like you guys have the depth and talent necessary to continue the success in these past 2 years in your offensive schemes?
Yeah, I think so. And as you get better and better offense, I think, you don't have to rely on it as much. So I think there'll be times this year if we can continue to get better at running the football and staying on schedule and continue getting to third down and manageables, that it'll be something that we might not use as much this year. I think, just us having some limitations at different positions over the last 2 years has caused us to have to utilize tempo probably a little bit more than I'd like. But yeah, hopefully, at times we can slow it down, really force our will on people, establish a run game. I think we have the pieces at slot receiver and receiver to be able to stretch the field right now. Got some speed out there. And then to just the progression of our tight ends, right? I think that's a big piece to the run game. Now having 4 or 5 guys in that position and being able to add a gap in the run game and get them tougher in there. Obviously, BJ and Vic were true freshmen last year. It's hard to play that position as a true freshman. Those guys are better. Connor Vaughn's a guy that has a ton of banked reps from Tulsa coming over. That's a bigger 255-pound body. Trey Williams is a guy that'll be super versatile for us. We'll be able to move him in the core and out of the core. And so yeah, I think we're still in kind of the building process, getting everybody the familiarity level of kind of what we want to do. And then as we get going, we'll kind of find our identity.
What gives you the offensive lines today?
Yeah, I think for the most part, it's pretty good. I thought, protection with the ones was pretty salty. I thought at times we were able to establish some run game with those guys. I think just finding out who our second team tackles are going to be a big thing. But I think right now, Jim Toe playing right tackle, same thing coming up from Kent State, started for the last 3 years for those guys, bunch of banked reps. Bringing Braden Nelson back as our starting left tackle. I think we got 2 solid tackles right there. We got to figure out, who our backups are there. Gabe Blair and Tay Yanta, both at center, are both guys that have just played so much football. So we got to figure out the best. Johnny's coming back at right guard. and then we got Ghana over at left guard. And so, I think figuring out who our top 8 offensive linemen is always something you really want to figure out in spring ball. You want your starters to be solidified, and then be able to have, a backup swing tackle would be ideal. And then, who's your backup center and your backup piece inside. And so a bunch of guys in there. I think we got 16 or 17 scholarship guys right now. So continue to get the puppies ready right now while some of these older guys take it.
Yeah, this is a little bit off the subject here, but when you came here, you invested real heavily in off-the-field personnel to kind of bolster, your social media stuff, your recruiting department. As you get deeper into your tenure, are you pretty happy with the way that investment has paid off with the course of the last couple years?
Yeah, I think so. Everybody hires them away now, so they must be doing a pretty good job. So, I think that's, the interesting piece kind of right now with college football is some of these P4 staffs are getting so big and so and paying so much money to these guys. So I think anytime you have a valuable piece, in the recruiting department, in the personnel department, now as we bring a revenue share into the mix about what's going on, you need somebody to kind of manage your money, knowing that that's coming down the pipeline to really set up your roster and know and make smart investments in players, right? And realizing that, some schools are going to be spending $15, $16 million on a roster. We might be spending $2 or $3 million on the roster. And so being able to make smart investments, I think it's important just to have smart guys that kind of understand where we're at as a program. And so yeah, and I think, these people are going and they're getting promotions or they're getting raises, one of the two, right? But I think when you look at it now, the majority of everybody in our conference has kind of got up to our level and have the same amount of off-the-field roles that we have right now. But yeah, it'll be super important that we replace these guys with quality guys that can come in here and continue to just move with the rapid pace that happens in, the transfer portal and how fast everything happens and how your roster could change, from year to year. I think you need guys that are competent and understanding the moving pieces to it.
Yeah, because I feel like you guys were a little bit ahead of the game there.
Yeah, I think so. And then, but I think you might go a little bit further down the road as far as now figuring out, what these different P4 schools have right now. I mean, every coach has an assistant. The personnel departments have 14, 15 guys in it. They're paying their number 2 and number 3 more than what we're paying our number 1. So I think it's always keeping up with the Joneses, right? In athletic departments, it's been that way forever. And as we go into this new era of actually now sharing some of these revenues with the kiddos, I think you have to start making smart investments and understanding, where do you want that money to actually go? Are you going to push some of it over to your players now? And so I think the business side of college athletics right now is in one of the more interesting times ever. And there's a bunch of challenges. And luckily, we have a great boss in Jared Mosley that's ahead of most of these things, and it allows us to have some forward thinking on it.
Sorry, got it? You good? I'm straight.
All right, Dave, go ahead. All right, John. So first scrimmage of the spring here, how'd you think it went?
So it went good. Everybody competing at a high level. We just trying to get everything rolling, get everybody matched up, just get everything fitted for UNT.
Now that you kind of got to play against it, what were your first impressions of Skylar Cassidy's defense out there?
I mean, it's cool. It's great to go against him every day. I mean, he's scheming up good. Defense looked great. Everything looked great. I mean, it's great to compete against them guys every day.
You're returning from last year. How do you feel like you've kind of improved so far over spring? You're still early, but how do you feel like you've kind of improved as a person?
Really just talking and communicating with everybody. Like last year was my first year, so I was getting my feet wet in UNT. But now since I have a year under my belt, it's just me being more vocal and just me communicating with everybody, make sure everybody's on the same page, just trying to get more of a leader standpoint here.
Get some new quarterback this year. How are those guys looking?
It's great to block for both of them. Both of them been doing their thing. I'm just trying to do my job for them. That's really the only thing. I just want to do my job at the best high level for them to do their thing.
Yeah, how do you think this fair doesn't hold that well? Have you been impressed with them in the spring?
Yeah, they both been doing their thing. They both been doing real good. We just try to do our thing. That's it.
What was your approach kind of going out to the scrimmage today and you kind of accomplish everything that you wanted to out there?
Yeah, I mean, we got everything we wanted to do. We just wanted to play fast, have everybody fit up. Obviously, everything's not going to be set in stone now. Not everything is going to be married up. Not everything's going to look great, but we just want to play fast, like literally. So we accomplished everything we needed to.
Who have kind of been some of those standouts in the offensive line room that you noticed early on this spring?
Sure, everybody. I mean, it's competition all over the place. Sure, come fall camp, you might not know who out there. It's competition everywhere.
Just holistically, do you think this team has made some improvements since the end of last season?
I mean, yeah, we try to make strides every year. Every football team tries to make new strides. I mean, for us, if it's not a championship season, then the season didn't go well. So yes, we're trying to compete with everybody.
You guys broke off a few runs during the scrimmage today. How do you feel like you guys have improved in the run game, especially after last year as a decimated running back room? How do you feel like you guys have the right pieces in there to really?
I mean, as all I can say is O-line, I just can focus on what we need to do. And if we move the pile up front, the running backs can do what they need to do.
How good was it for Demaje after what he went through to break one off like that? Were you guys happy to see?
It was great to see him. He's been through a lot coming off that SFA game. He broke almost a 60-yard run, got hurt. It was great to see him back out there running, doing his thing, and just laughing. It's great to see your teammates smiling and enjoying the game. Like, I like to see him enjoy that and help me bring that out of him.
First go here as far as scrimmage in the spring practice, how did you think it went?
It was great. It was a lot of fun. Got to come together. The defense finally put it all together. Hit, tackle, run. Got to clean up a couple things. Got to communicate better. But at the end of the day, we got to keep building up what we did today.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing everybody's interested in, because you're changing your defensive scheme. You got a whole bunch of new coaches. And how is it coming together as you guys get through this first scrimmage?
It's good. The more we play together, the more we're gonna know what each other likes to do. You know, the whole chemistry piece is really important to us. As far as a new scheme, I mean, it's nothing new. You got to adapt on the fly in every other week because it's a new team you're playing. So it's just adapt with it and run with it.
You're one of the longest tenured guys of this team, especially on defense. Do you feel like you kind of stepped into a veteran role on this team?
Yeah, of course. It's I get looked to a lot by the freshmen for leadership and kind of, even in the defense, it may be a new defense, but knowing the game, knowing the football, I get looked for guidance and how to help coach people and how to help just encourage younger people to be the best they can be.
How do you feel like your position group has kind of not really improved, but played so far throughout spring?
It's good. We've taken on the linebackers got to be the captains of the defense, right? So we've taken on that role. We've taken with pride, and we got to keep expanding on it.
You had a big interception on the goal line there. Just walk me through what you kind of saw in that play.
Well, it was goal line. They gave us some spread. Unlikely they're going to run the ball, so the coverage we had allowed me to push to the boundary, kind of sifted through. Ball showed up.
Good. And, what was your kind of mindset coming into the scrimmage today, and did you kind of accomplish everything you wanted to out there?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people like to take these scrimmages as like serious games. I like to kind of calm down, kind of fall back on my training. It's another practice for me. Play aggressive, play fast, but mindset-wise, execute when you need to execute. You're not giving 100 plays today. If I'm giving 30, I'm going to make the best 30 chances I can.
You guys are in your third different group of starting quarterbacks. What have you kind of seen from them, and how have they kind of helped you guys improve as a defense?
In recent year, they give us a lot of good looks in practice. They both have different playing styles. They both can do different things with the ball, and it makes us adapt on the fly because we need to know what quarterback's back there and how we need to play. If, for example, if Reese wants to break the pocket, we got to know who's got to come get him. If Reese will stay back in the pocket, we have to know what to cover and how to.
Who's kind of stood out in the linebacker room so far?
Trey's done a great job. Shane's done a great job. Java's done a great job. We've all built together. So I wouldn't say there's a huge standout, but we've all built together. We keep competing with each other, which I think is going to make us better day in and day out.
Is this all kind of coming together here defensively for you guys early in spring?
Schematically?
And just overall?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, for me, even the more I do it, the more we get comfortable with it, the more we can communicate, and the better we'll be.
Do you have any goals that you want to kind of accomplish before the end of spring or going into the 2025 season?
End of spring. I don't know if we'll do it at the end of spring, but I like to be voted out as a captain. I do think I'm a leader of this team. I do think I can be someone who likes to bring up people at, freshman, sophomore, senior, even people that are above me. I like to think I can bring up them, bring the best out of them.
How good did that interception feel just to start off the spring like that?
Felt good. I know Drew really well, and so I was talking crap a little bit to him, but it felt good to get it, kind of get a little momentum back.
Cool. It sounds like had a couple of other, had a couple of forced fumbles in the backfield too. Is that front seven piece really coming along and kind of meshing well so far this spring camp? Yeah, the D-line's doing a great job so far. They're getting knocked back. They're getting into the backfield and being disruptive. And when they're disruptive up front, it makes our job a lot easier because that means the line can't come out and block us.
It means we can run the alleys. It means we can make a lot of plays. That means the offense ain't gonna score the ball.